Hello, BookTube, and welcome to Weekly Reads. I've had a very good reading week, and I've been quite busy. So as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I had a trip today. I went with my mom to a doctor's appointment, and we rode the bus, and so that necessitated several trips to the bank. Well, I had to go to the bank for other things too, but I needed to get an extra bit of money so I can buy a book of tickets for the rural service. And unfortunately, the ATM was acting up, so I had to go. Since the bank I go to, their lobby is closed, so I have to walk up through the drive-through to do my banking, which is a bit embarrassing. So I finally managed to do that today. And then bought a book of tickets, and then we went on our trip. The trip up to the clinic was pretty scenic. We took a fairly scenic route, which always makes me want to paint, because they're very pretty or very paint-worthy locations dotted throughout the county whenever I see them. And I always really want to paint after riding the bus. So there's this one purple flower that kept popping up here and there that was just magnetic for me. I'm like, I really want to paint that. And then we were on this back road, and it was very rough. Needs some work. And there was a dip that, I don't know if, there was a small bridge or culvert or drain under it, but it kind of bisected a small creek that was just like this little bit of water over it. But it was like a very dry creek, not a whole lot of water. And so I was looking over, and this is a part of the county I've never been to, and it just amazed me. I was looking over it, and it was just amazing. And then we went over Lake Waco and the shimmering water. Just, it was very, very pretty trip. And then the appointment itself didn't last that long at all. And then the bus ride back was about almost an hour. And then we basically went on 84 and drove over the new, the completed highway. They've been working on that highway for years. They finally finished, and it's nice, although not all that impressive. It's a highway. But I mean, that does illustrate one problem with, I think, the bus, is it an appointment that lasted not even 30 minutes. It is basically, we left about 11:50 and didn't get back until about 2:40. And that's a bit ridiculous. But anyway, enough about the trip. Hopefully the one we'll have to go next week isn't going to be as bad or as annoying, but I'm pretty sure it will be, because it's in town, and that's the whole thing. And I'll probably talk about it next week, especially if I need to rant about it. But anyway, so about the books I've read this week. So the first book I started and finished is Age of Conquests by Angelos and Chaniotis. This is a survey of largely Greek history, from the conquest of Alexander to the death of Hadrian. So the first part of the book is a history, like political, military, bit of social history of the Hellenistic world, from Alexander through the death of Cleopatra and the dissolution of the Ptolemaic kingdom. And then the second half of the book is a social history that sort of, by subject, looks through the whole of sort of Roman imperial Greece, or the sort of the Roman Empire, although primarily focusing on the Hellenistic regions, with some going back into the Alexander and the kingdoms, the Antigonid, the Seleucid, the Ptolemaic, and then the various minor kingdoms. And I really enjoyed the book. It's like really fun, and just I really love this book. Ouch. It was starting to dig into me. I mean, the shift between the sort of military governmental history of the first part and then the social history of the second part, it's a bit jarring, I think. Especially given that the Greek world under the Romans, particularly after Cleopatra, doesn't really, I mean, the history isn't quite like as robust. I mean, it's obviously more of a social history, but I mean, it's still very engrossing and very fun. And very eye-opening too, definitely. So, one of my favorite books, or one of my favorite histories. And then I followed up Age of Conquests with America Bewitched, the story of witchcraft after Salem by Owen Davies. Owen Davies is a historian who specializes in witchcraft and the occult. And this is the second or third time I've read this book, and I've enjoyed it each time I've read it. Although I did notice this time that, to a certain extent, stylistically, this book is quite similar to those pseudo-science books, and also the weird travel writing. Although, obviously, I mean, this is, the research is far better backed up here, and the stylistic similarities are, I mean, it's probably a matter of course that there would be some similarities, although I think maybe Davies could have been a bit tighter, maybe more concise, not as sort of random in sort of picking bits of history here or bits of data here and there to sort of formulate a whole, and just focus more on maybe specific stories, or giving a lot of these stories a lot more depth. I mean, the book really shines, I think, with sort of chapter... I think chapter 8 is really strong. The Witch Killings Up Close, where he goes on extended sort of investigations of various cases of witch believers, people who believe they've been bewitched, killing the people they believe have been bewitching them. Those little narratives are really good, and when he does the kind of like those more extended narratives throughout the book, I think that's when this book is definitely at its strongest. But it is, I think, a really interesting and useful book on witchcraft. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it, even though I do have some criticisms of it. Although, after my uh, booktube prize video yesterday, I'm thinking I'm extremely harsh. Like, I am an extremely harsh critic, I think. I am. So that's one thing that I need to think about more. I think is exactly how harsh I am in my reading and in my criticism. But anyway, now on to the book that I will be reading this coming weekend, and into next week. So I plan to start with The Secret History of Wonder Woman by Joe Lepore. This, I'm thinking, is going to be a history of the creation of Wonder Woman. Maybe a bit more than the creation, but certainly the creation of Wonder Woman. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. Excuse me. And then after Wonder Woman, I'll be reading Culture in the Third Reich by Moritz Fulmer. Which I picked up last month? No, about 2 months ago, and haven't gotten to yet. And then finally, I'm thinking I should be able to finish both, either not quite this weekend, but definitely by Monday or Tuesday. So I think I should be finished up with both, probably sometime midweek, at which point I will start on Alexander the Great by Anthony Everett. This is one of several Alexander the Great biographies I've picked up, and I'm looking forward to reading it, particularly given that there's another Alexander the Great biography coming out in next week, which I should be picking up, and then it will go there. And then I'll talk about that at the end of October. So that's my what I've read and my reading plans for this coming week. I haven't really watched a whole lot of movies or anything. It's one of those things that takes me, like, I mean to be more proactive in watching movies or television or something, but I don't. I basically just watch BookTube or really long painting videos. I watched yesterday, because I couldn't catch it on Wednesday. Alain Picard, he did a still life of, was like 2 gourds, a pumpkin and some other squash, or it's like a blue squash and a small pumpkin, and it was just an amazing video. He's one of my favorite pastelists, and I'm like, amazing work. Anyway, so I'm thinking I'm rambling now, so I'll go ahead and sign off. So next week I might have a rambling video on Monday. Depends, or I might just skip Monday like I usually do. Tuesday, hopefully I'll have a tag video up. Wednesday, I might have my weekly my Road to NaNoWriMo video might be a little bit late, because obviously there's that appointment, and I don't know exactly, I haven't scheduled the bus, so I don't know how that's going to shape up. And then on Thursday, I don't have any plans, but we'll see. And then obviously on Friday there will be weekly reads. So anyway, BookTube, until next week, thank you, have a great weekend, and please stay safe.